What's up everyone, Alastiir here today accompanied by Frigiddeath, presenting to you a new series of video idea that I had, which was essentially reviewing leagues as they are almost about to end before the next league is introduced, looking at 5 core components that are the base mechanic as it was introduced, what was further added through patches over the course of the league, the unique items introduced with the league, the challenges along with the rewards, and finally implementation if at all, into core when applicable. So we're first starting with Incursion, but just to give you a quick idea as to who we are in terms of our PoE knowledge, I've been playing basically since around Rampage. That's when I started playing, and Frigiddeath is the one who introduced me to Path of Exile. He's been playing since around closed beta. So we've both been here for quite a while. He has more knowledge than I do, but I'd like to think that over the years and over the course of my time playing, I've learned my fair share about the game as well. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so, well, first off, the base mechanic. I mean, overall, I personally enjoy the base mechanic a lot. I think it was the same for yourself, right?
Yeah, definitely probably one of the more fun league actual mechanics they've added.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the fact that it breaks the monotony of like mapping in a way that's not too intrusive within the map, but still lets you kind of do something different pretty often was pretty cool. The whole impact of the maps dropping inside the temple are also huge, especially for all the T16 guardians and everything farming. That was a really big difference, I find,
Yeah.
which was really cool.
Yeah, having easy access to maps was really nice, which is why I don't think it will be in core. When it goes core, that map room is going to get nerfed into oblivion.
Very possible, yeah.
Because like it was really common.
Mm-hmm.
Like the odds of you not at least getting a tier 1
Oh,
map
it was in every single temple.
everyone.
Overall, I think that when it comes to compared to other leagues, the base implementation that is like day one implementation of the league was pretty solid. I don't think there was too much that was lacking. Alpha was pretty easy to cross. Obviously, really early incursions. I feel like we could never kill the dudes like the architects. But I think that's also okay because, you know, it's like it's supposed to be a bit hard at the start until you get like your first, you know, normal skill kind of. Some of the rooms were a bit rare, and a couple of them got quickly like had questionable utility, I find. Especially I'm thinking of like the Atziri room was very uncommon, and even if you could get it, you'd kind of be like, why?
Yeah, the problem with the Azeri room is if you would have dropped like, I mean, it's hard because you can't drop any Azeri item. It has to just be normal Azeri. Yeah. But at the same time, it's so rare, and really all you're getting is to run an Azeri set. And Azeri sets aren't that hard. I mean, hey, it's a cheap Azeri set because you just had to spend 3, incursions to get it. But that's all you're getting. You're getting a normal Azeri run that skips the first 2 bosses, and you just fight Azeri at the end, and that's all you're getting for this, which is cool. It's a novel concept, and it thematically made sense.
Yeah, no, it made sense in the thing, but it felt like for the amount of reward that it could possibly give, it was a bit too rare.
I mean, that was the weird thing. That's the thing I hope they change when they add it to core, is they really do kind of make more rooms useful. Because that's what I felt the problem with Incursion was, is that so many rooms just felt fucking pointless.
Yeah.
Like, there's zero reason to make this room ever. It's just bad. Like, the armor room, bad. Weapon room, bad. Jewelry room, bad.
I mean,
they're just bad rooms. They had no purpose.
Well, like jewelry is like sometimes you could get some stuff. I mean, armor, the nice thing about armor was the divination cards that you could get for armor, and the fact that you could get some corrupted 6 links, which were always nice. But it's true that outside of those scenarios, everything else you open. Yeah, but you know, I mean, it beats an empty room, but not by much.
Like the only thing nice about Jewelry Room was it could be A, the divination cards, and B, you could get talismans.
Yeah.
So like for people who are quant farming, having incredibly easy access to the quantity talisman was nice.
Yeah, no.
Because
that
like,
was-
hey, I don't have my Bisco. I don't really want to spend that much early on. Whatever. I'm just gonna buy this 9-10 quant base neck until I get my Shaper deck
Mhm.
or a Biscos.
Yeah.
The problem it definitely hit. Like I think a lot of people also quit this league early because the lack of progression. It's basically once you did your first 10 temples, nothing was ever going to change. It was just an RNG show. So I know a lot of people got bored of doing it. Like after your 100th temple, you're just like, it's just the same thing.
Yeah.
Like it became autopilot. You got the good room, you ran to the good rooms, you might kill the boss. And I think a lot of people just skipped the boss because the only thing that mattered at the end was the vial of sacrifice.
Yep.
That's it. I can sum up my feelings of Incursion. It's a very, very good core mechanic, but it was a pretty mediocre league mechanic because of the not scaling issue. It just sooner or later became pointless. Like it was just the same thing over and over again, and that happened very, very quickly. But a core mechanic, like you said, it breaks up the monotony of maps. It really doesn't get in your way. It was free items. Like as a core mechanic, it's like amazing. It's actually perfect. But as an entire league, here's 3 months. This is your league mechanic. I definitely understand why a lot of people like quit this league after 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, it is something where you experience the entirety of it, almost the near entirety of it, very, very quickly. And therefore player retention through novelty is kind of like hurt by that. No, so for the base mechanic overall, I think that's pretty much it. Like it was solidly added. Nothing felt like it was that lacking. The league launched pretty cleanly as well, if I recall correctly. We didn't have a lot of server issues.
In a while.
Not too many server issues. A bit of DCs, but obviously that's always to be expected. No, overall it was nice. Next up, the what they added through patches. So, because like mostly we want to talk about this because in past leagues and previous leagues, they've been like, it's been kind of a common pattern where they'll launch the league and it felt not quite finished, and then over the course of the next couple months, they're launching a lot of smaller patches or a lot of content patches where they add things. I mean, the most like huge examples of how it changed to me was like especially Gumball League, which is Harbinger League, and Bestiary Pokemon League, because those like the iterations that were launched and the iterations where how they ended were pretty much entirely different leagues. Like just everything was just changed so much. Now this is the first league I believe that they launched with the production cycle being different, where they were trying to be finished a month before.
Yeah.
So I think that
done much earlier.
Yeah, I think that worked. Like the fact that we got very little patch afterwards also shows the results of that, because we ended up getting what? It was just one content patch that added Strongbox and Ghosts. Is that it?
Yep, that was it. The only thing I got was the Ghost Room and the Box Room.
Yeah, I think your thoughts and my thoughts kind of coincide again on the rooms they added, where they're not really interesting. One of them is the worst thing in the history of existence because ghosts suck and should be removed. And the other one is just basically warehouse, but can't have league specifics.
Bad. It was bad. It was bad. Yeah, basically, yeah, bad warehouse. That's a good way of putting it. It's a bad version of like a good old storage room.
Yeah, a storage room.
But yeah, so yeah, this was like the league where they didn't really change much, and I think that's also why it died so fast. Because there was nothing new. It was the same thing for 3 months.
I think as well with all these items where it's not that you're crafting the item in a specific way like Essence, it's that you're having a blue base. It's like the warbands items, right? That's essentially what they are. And I feel like if anything, ever since the removal of Eternal Orb, warbands items after warbands, like I feel like a strong lesson was you have to not be afraid of giving more warbands items, because the thing is, just because of the amount of mods that exist out there, the chances of your warbands item going from a single stat blue to a good rare is really low. Just because there's too
Well,
many mods out there.
there's a lot of ways to craft it. The problem is it because I mean you just hey fuck it we'll block the suffix and yeah it's expensive. But that's the problem with crafting right now. Is to craft GG gear. It's not about hey here's these mods. It's okay I just have a billion things and all my masters are level 8s and I can block prefixes and suffixes and attack mods and whatever the fuck I need to and blow a billion exalts because I have plenty of currency.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I'm saying, where it's like, for someone who has infinite currency and master experience, right? They don't care if the item is scarce, because all they need is the one.
They'll buy it. Yeah, they just need one.
For everyone else, the impact is the capacity to try and interact with these items in a way where they'll actually use them, other than selling the base for like 10 chaos to whatever rich person is going to make a GG item out of it, is essentially non-existent. And that's why it's like, I would like personally these mechanics that are cool and like these mods and items that they add that are unique to leagues that are fun to be kind of more playable with. I'm not talking everybody gets a GG league item. I'm talking everybody gets to, more chances to, hey, I'm going to keep on Augment Regaling, kind of like the Elrond thing, right? Where it's like your Elrond ring, maybe once every 2 days you'll get a ring that's not bad and you'll Aug Regal it, and chances are you're probably not going to get a really good one all league, but hey, you might get one that's half decent. Maybe you'll think about using it. Maybe you'll think about crafting a 4 stat on it and, either slapping it on an alt or maybe selling it for a bit. But when it's something you're only getting once every, like, I don't know, week, maybe? If you farm temples a lot, once every week, you might get a blue base that's alright.
Yeah.
And then, who knows if your Augment Regal is going to work out? Like, I don't know. I just felt like it's these fun things that can be broken by the really expensive ways of doing things are going to be broken anyway. So, yeah. Okay, so the next point I have written down is the review of the uniques. So, how many unique items were added in this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, counting all upgrades. Now, the uniques in this league were, I would personally say, all over, they've been a bit disappointing. I don't know what you say.
Oh, the outside of Zerpi's Heart and Sacrificial Heart, they were all basically garbage. For 99% of the player base, they were just dog shit.
Yeah. Apep Supremacy was very fun for hardcore.
Niche. Yeah, very good for hardcore. I mean, good in just general. I mean, it was a great concept, but
yeah,
it was just like niche. It was like, cool, here's a build where you can die less.
The idea behind Omeyo-kan was also pretty cool, and I think that it's definitely something that is usable by like Mana Guardian and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, the boots for Mana Guardian were fantastic, but that was just like a win more.
Yeah. Shadow Stitch was cool. I really liked Shadow Stitch
really
thematically.
Cool. Yeah, thematically it was fantastic.
That was really cool. Soul Ripper, Soul Catcher were fun, but at the end of the day,
the Vial
really
was. Well, the problem with the Vial was really rare. To get the upgraded one.
Yeah. String of Servitude was pretty much the only unique of this league. If you did any amount of temples, it was String of Servitude, followed by String of Servitude, followed by String of Servitude.
Oh, dude, no! Don't forget the jewels. Don't forget the jewels.
I got so many more String of Servitudes than jewels.
I think I have 12 like jewels in my stash right now. Just straight up 12 of them.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised. There's a lot of them, but I think we got more than 12 Strings of Servitude.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, like I said, it's one or the other. You either got a jewel or the, belt. That was it.
Yep.
And the belt at least could be good. I mean, that's the big thing. The belt could be good.
Yeah. The belt
like
could
the
be fun.
Duration one,
the duration
the
one,
all res.
Yeah. There was some fun mods, and I do like that. I do like the idea of uniques that have a lot of different versions of themselves. I think that's fun.
I think they need to add more of those. Like,
Yeah.
I really do think it's like the best way to have like good uniques.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so other than that, overall, the quality of the uniques was not very high. There was a lot of fun concepts, like a lot of very fun ideas in all of these, and all of these did kind of feel very unique, except
Oh yeah,
for,
they
a
were.
couple of them. They were very special.
Yeah, I mean the problem is the only good ones were the least special ones of them all.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then that also kind of goes into, like, we just want to very briefly cover the problem with Zophie's Heart rarity and
Oh yeah.
league specific unique rarity, where and like this is just to recap our opinion because we've talked about it many times and I don't want to have a 2 hour
Yep.
discussion on it again. But basically, the fact that Zerfie's Heart, as a league specific unique, especially as a league specific unique presented as kind of a hook to, hey, here is one of the cool uniques you can have as a teaser before the league, with the level of rarity multiple times rarer than the single other greatest, rarest item in the game, which is Headhunter, a previous league specific unique from years ago that did not even have the league in Incursion to chance it.
It's basically the same logic as like Skyforce. It's probably as rare as Skyforce actually dropping for you.
Yeah, it's as rare as Skyforce actually dropping for you without a mechanic to circumvent that in any shape or form.
You just can't chain run T16 maps and just wait for them to drop.
Yeah, but you can't do anything specific like to try and help your odds, to the point where the end price at the time of this video is something akin to 4 times the cost of a Headhunter, where I think the other day we checked and there was a Headhunter on the Incursion event going for about 50 exalts, and Zerfie's Heart's cheapest was at about 2 mirrors, which, give or take 100 exalts to a mirror is about 4 times the price. So the fact that in the very league where this item originated, it is over 4 times the value, and not because of power, because Headhunter remains superior in terms of power, but simply in terms of rarity, to what is essentially the chase item of PoE. It's always been, at least ever since it's been in the game.
It has been as long as the clear speed meta was a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean the fact that Zerfies was so rare was kind of obnoxious. Yeah. I mean, it goes back to the same problem as Bestiary, and when they entered, like put in the Queen's Sacrifice for the upgraded Aziri's Mirror, and that thing is even I think they might have like stealth buff it. It's still more like 2 times the price of a Headhunter.
Yeah.
Just because of how rare you ever getting that thing is.
Yeah. So it seems that they've been slowly adding some of these, and I think this is mostly just the idea where it's not just a standard item where anybody can get this, and yeah, there will be slowly getting more over time. This is, of course, now we know it's going core, but that's not even the point, because it might go core in a way that makes getting it even more, impossible. It is a league, and during the specific period of playing that league, having an item be so much harder to obtain than any other item in the game, including items from previous leagues, is kind of ridiculous. Especially when, I mean, yes, it's a good item, but this isn't an item that says you walk into Shaper and one-shot him. This is an item that says every 10 seconds you get progressively faster until it falls off, and then you go faster again for 10 seconds progressively, and then it falls off. It doesn't loop, it doesn't repeat, so it's only ever you get a lot of attack speed and you clear faster until for the 10 seconds, and then it resets, which is great, but it does not justify the level of rarity which they gave.
Yeah, for me, it's just the level of rarity. Like, I'm not like, I'm fine with league chase items, But at the same time, don't make the league chase items so rare that it's like, yeah, there'll be like 6 of them. It's like, then why did you show it off? Just leave it for a surprise, and everyone can find out later. It's just a chase item.
Yeah. So automatically, if it's shown, you think, well, it's probably going to be really rare because it's really strong. But if I work hard, I could probably attain it. And instead, they brought it to essentially attainable levels of standard. And that way, it does not feel like a league item. It feels like a standard item for those people who are like just hogging currency over time.
Yeah. I mean, especially as Ares Mirror. But yeah, they all do. They're all just like, like I said, if it's so rare that it's just like, no one's really going to have it, just don't advertise it.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that.
That's all I would say to do with like these Zerfies, Hearts, and Serious Mirror. Just like, it exists. Someone will get it sooner or later. People will be like, wow, that's OP. And then everyone will figure out, odds are this dude is the luckiest son of a bitch ever because it will never drop again. And just move on.
As I was saying, it's more of a design point of view where I'm not a fan of the idea of leagues where if you see a really cool item, your best chance to get it is 4 leagues from now when it's in a bunch of divination cards. If that's the way the game is, I feel like that's a flaw, in my opinion. Yeah, I'd rather it be less obtainable 4 leagues later, but more obtainable the league of.
Yeah, but I mean, I always look at it that has been a Path of Exile problem for so freaking long. I mean, think about it. How many, when Skyforce were popular, how many naturally dropped? None, almost. It was like always none,
but you could chance.
You always chanced it.
Yeah, but you could do that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the problem with these is that you can't chance it because it's either a prophecy or it's a temple item. You can't just get them easily.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, fuck it, I'm gonna chance it, we're fine. If you could chance Zerfies, like, no one would give a shit. Like, nobody.
No, of course.
No one would care.
But that's like, the point, right? There's no mitigating there's no mitigating mechanic to help with this.
Yeah.
So just before we head back off of the review of the uniques onto the next thing, what did you think about the whole every single unique being upgradable mechanic?
I love that mechanic personally. Like, I think it's like a good mechanic. I wish, but I prefer Breach more than Temple. Breach made sense. The good unique was just rare. Like Zoth's, like the amulets, those things were rare drops. They did not drop often. Like, you got really lucky if one of the amulets dropped. They also happened to be the best item, and the minute you got your amulet, it was really easy to upgrade because blessings dropped like 50% of the time. These vials, it's like, I've chained temples. I have gotten so few vials, even for these shit uniques.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's like, what the fuck is the point of having them? Like, an upgradable unique that is super rare to ever get to. Like, it was easier in Breach, where it's like, okay, fine, I got the blessing from killing the boss, and there I go, and I'm gonna just pop the fucker, and I'm done. The upgrade should be exactly what that is, an upgrade. It's like, okay, I have this item, and sooner or later, I'm going to upgrade it to the, end game higher level version, not, I'm never going to upgrade this unless I buy the vial off of somebody.
Yeah. The fact that it was a vial per item to me is more of the problem. Because I feel like they took the faded approach where they're like, all right, well, you have a prophecy per faded item, no problem. But when there's only a singular boss that can only drop a singular unique item, and all of those vials take a slot, it makes everything so much harder to do. That's what I think is the big problem. Like, if they had like 3 tiers of vials with like low level vial, early map vial, late map vial, and then those vials worked with all of the items of X level or above, I think that would already make things like way better, because you don't have to, every single one of those unique vials aren't that crazy rare, because as you were saying, like, even the vials for the shitty items were really hard to get, and like they were cheap because the items were shit. But that's not even the problem here. The thing is, if any one of those items for any reason got reworked mid-league and became good, all those vials would have been super crazy expensive, because even the really low level ones are really, really rare. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I only got like 2 vials. The entire like little bit I played, I think I like 2. I mean, I think if you like really change farm it, you could probably get some, but I think I said I think everybody mostly gave up because of that exact reason on killing the boss. It was like there's only one good vial, and they're all freaking rare anyways, and this one's even rarer than normal. Yeah, but yeah, the biggest kind of draw away from the uniques were most of them were incredibly. I think the uniques were too niche, so most of them were worthless. Like it's like, hey, here's some league specific. Yeah, they're unique, but no one's going to use them because there's no point of using them.
Yep.
So that's not good. And then the only unique that was good was retardedly rare. And like I said, the good unique was the most boring one that you could get.
For the challenges, I figured I'd want to just quickly go over the like how they did the challenges, because so challenges have been following kind of a bit of a similar theme for the past couple leagues. I feel like they've really settled their pace as to how they like it. But you know, I still thought maybe we'd bring it up, talk about any challenges that we thought maybe were specifically weird about, or specifically not really cool about this league, or that we specifically enjoyed about this league. Because overall, I mean, I don't want to talk about the challenge system in itself, seeing as, you know, there's good sizes, downsides. I think overall it's reached a pretty good state. I enjoy doing challenges as we progress, and I enjoy that it's not just like reach 90, start doing challenges. Neither is it like reach 90, you've completely finished doing challenges. It's a bit of a mix. I specifically, about challenges, wanted to talk about 2 of the 4 which I did not do, not out of choice, but because of how ridiculous they were, which is fully upgrade rooms in the temple and use these devices to get the following outcomes. Now, the reason I wanted to bring them up, and I wanted to also know what you thought about that, is I was especially pissed off by these challenges because it kind of goes back to the league idea, where it's like, these challenges, when I read them at first, seemed like the obvious, if you engage with the league mechanic, you will get these, because it's simply, you do the league mechanic. Use the devices in the temple, and get all the rooms in the temple once. Yet, I didn't even finish these despite finishing way harder things because of how ridiculously rare, especially difficult, use these devices were. Because not only were the devices really rare, but you had to get every single kind of outcome in a thing you can't control the outcome that has 4 different outcomes.
The only one I had an issue. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I'm not a big fan of usually their late game challenges. Exactly for that reason. It's usually either gated behind. It's usually gated behind some sort of bullshit. In this case, it's bullshit RNG. That's the only way to finish this. You just got lucky. That's it. There's no other answer. It wasn't you were skilled or you spent a lot of time killing something. It was no, congratulations, you got fucking lucky on a league mechanic 4 times. Good job. Like, it's not impressive. It's like, why is this a challenge reward?
Yeah, none of it like has anything to do with the word challenge. It's not challenging.
Yeah, it's just not challenging at all.
So yeah, so overall, other than those 2 challenges, I enjoy the challenges. Like, I think they were just a kind of a regular iteration. In terms of the rewards, the bandana, I was not a fan of. I don't know if you like the bandana.
It has its uses, but it's kind of ugly.
Yeah, the cloak was funky. Like, I saw some people kind of rocking it with some sets, but like, it's weird.
I was not. I mean, I won't lie. This league, I was not a huge fan of the rewards. Like, the best one was the Crash Bandicoot portal at 36. Yeah. My only problem with it is that it's really, really, really kind of close to the supporter pack portal.
Yeah, it was really,
really
similar.
Close.
Yeah, so the challenge rewards I felt were, well, I guess we both felt were kind of a bit underwhelming, except for the portal, but the portal was also very similar to the league specific supporter pack that a lot of people get. So it kind of meant if you got the supporter pack, you were even less motivated to do the challenges, because the only war that on average would like, it tended to already kind of have a version, so why? Okay, so anyways, the last thing on my list was implementation into core. So we've heard a lot of different ideas for how this should be implemented into core, right? We heard about I think you mentioned two that were the most, that seemed the most logical. The one where Alva either shows up once and then you get her non-stop. And what was the other one?
That's the one I heard. Like my preferred one would just be she's just in maps, like every map, just straight up every map.
Okay.
Because she's like a good, because she's a good breakup, and unless they insanely rework Temple, the rewards aren't that good. Like all you would realistically have to do is probably nerf the map room, because you shouldn't be getting maps rooms every
Single temple,
temples. Yeah, that's probably a little too much. Like maybe like 50%, maybe even 33% of the time. But you can have her every time, because what are you getting? Some currency sometimes. Some of the Incursion items, which we already talked about, that are a pain in the ass to craft anyways. Like you're not really getting anything special. This kind of, let's have her be 10% of the time, and then she spawns 11 times. It's kind of like, cool. So now it's even rarer for you not to really get much.
Yeah, because the weird thing about the 10% of the time and then she spawns every time is it's just gonna be really weird in those like 6 maps in a row where she's not there. Because it's just kind of like you're gonna be playing the game. You're gonna feel like you're playing the game normally, which is you're doing your map, you're doing your alpha, boom, boom, boom. You do that, you do a whole bunch of maps, you get your temple, and then all of a sudden part of the game's missing, and then randomly it's back again, and then you do it again for 11. Like while the idea had some merit, I feel like for someone who's just kind of playing the game casually or just playing in standard or whatever, and sees these temples as a core part of the game, it feels a bit weird because it's not the same as Breach, where it's like you've got these stones that you're slowly working towards building to get a Breach domain, or like these abysses where every now and then you'll get a depth where it's a special thing. This is like just really a incremental. Every time you do it, you did exactly 1/11th. There's no other bullshit. And there's no trading it as well. Because that's the other thing about Breach, right? If you want to just run Breaches all day, theoretically you can. You just have to buy Breach stones off people.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is one I think like is just fine the way it is. Just like let it rock. Because the rewards just aren't that strong. And because they're not strong, it's fine to say, hey, run it every, if you want to run it in maps, I would even be for it, being 50% of the time while leveling. Because as a leveling mechanic, I thought it gave you pretty good items.
Yeah, leveling, I hope that if they put it in as it is, whatever amount of percent of chance they want it to spawn, I do hope that it will start earlier than maps, and it's not going to be another league that's just added once you hit beach. Because out of all of them, like, I think all of leagues, or a lot of leagues, had some really cool like early leveling stuff, but Incursion is one of the ones where it's the best because you actually get to fully experience it straight up at low level. There's no, a temple at level 5 and a temple at level 86 is the same temple. Now, especially with the fact that you get like you could get some really cool leveling items, I think that's really good, and that's why I hope it will be. And even like, yeah, if you say like 50% in the zone, like it might not be all the time. That way, it doesn't take too much of the focus from leveling away. But I hope that no matter how they implement it, it is implemented early on.
Yeah, and then I hope I do want them to end some sort of end game version of it. That's going to be the challenge, is how they add that in.
Some kind of scaling for the boss, so that he's not like a complete joke.
Not even that. Like just a completely different. Like the temple is like Uber temple.
Mm-hmm.
Like shit is real. I'm just excited to see core get put in the game, and I hope they do it well because, like I said, Incursion's a great core mechanic. Just not the most interesting league mechanic.
Yep.
With how they implemented it.
We'll see how they do that in 3.5.0. That's it from us two, and thanks for watching.